Good evening, Fernwood. It is your viscous volunteer, Neil, and it's time for us to get sticky with another episode of Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman. It is now time for episode 211 from January 24th, 1977. Let's take a look at the entirety of last week. Tom feels that his and Mary's sex lives are getting complicated because of the Olinsky report. He feels like he's trying to follow some kind of instruction manual. However, Mary would like to find better sexual satisfaction. Tom is also quite depressed at having his job back at the factory, the same job that drove him to depression. And also, Mary kissed Merle, and it was gross. Kathy met Brian Adams for the check and for a last look at the baby. George and Martha are terrified of eviction, though George finally resolved to accept the money from Kathy, except that Kathy comes in with the baby and says that she has torn up the check. George and Martha were getting ready to fend off the police as Merle shows up and says that he has made their home a historical landmark, and Merle and Mary share a knowing glance at each other. May Olinsky met up with some of the men of town who were really angry about the Olinsky report. She wanted to lower the profile of the project because of their rage, but Wanda comes back and says that if this is going to be war, then we should fight it. Wanda tells her plan to May as the cops raid their motel room. Wanda thought that they were sent by Tom, but May found out that he didn't know anything about sending cops to the motel. And back at the Jeter residence, Merle was steaming mad to find out that Wanda's plan was to ask the women of Fernwood to boycott sex with their husbands. Over at the Gimbal residence, Mary found Patty locked in the closet and traumatized. She brought Patty to a religious figure in the middle of the week, and that left Pat very confused. Then Mary introduced Pat to a woman from a group called Battered, Angry, and Determined, Helen Dinsmore, and Helen gave Pat the encouragement to leave the marriage with Garth. At the hospital, Charlie found a woman that the hospital believes was Loretta, wrapped in bandages. It is clearly not Loretta because she has been tearing it up in a new identity, Lulu. Lulu is a waitress in a spot called Lou's Place. She doesn't remember any of her life in Fernwood, and she doesn't remember Charlie. Also, she's got the men of the cafe wrapped around her finger. That would be Lou and Max Slattery, the trucker. And then last Friday at the Capri Lounge, Tom puts down his Diet Pepsi and orders a beer. Charlie realizes that Tom shouldn't be drinking, but Tom tells him to mind his own business. Tom tells Charlie that after he sobers up, he's going to take a long drive and find that Lou's Place to see the singer that Max Slattery was so excited about. Over at the Gimbal residence, Patty takes down the Christmas tree as Garth finds a reason to turn anything into a fight. Heather and Philip show up to do their homework, and Garth expresses exactly how meaningless his life is to him. Mary visits the hospital and the injured woman that she believes is Loretta. Martha is there, volunteering for the Grey Ladies, and as they sit at her bedside, the woman under the bandages moves her hand, and that gives Martha and Mary hope. Of course, Loretta is really at Lou's place in her new guise as Lulu, and while Lulu and Mac have gone off to visit Mac's truck to see their heater, Tom shows up drunk. He passes out, and Lou puts him in Lulu's bed because he needs to sleep it off. And then we return to the Gimbal residence where Garth continues to browbeat Patty. Patty tells him that she spoke to another battered wife and that she's ready to leave the marriage, at which point he is angry and tries to drag her back into the closet. Though she's able to resist and Garth falls into the closet instead, with Patty locking him in, Heather and Philip run out when they hear the noise, and Patty tells them to run. And while she has Garth restrained, she tells him all of the feelings that she has felt through their marriage up until now, and that she is ready to go. And it seems that Garth did not hear her, because then the door opens, and then... Well, everybody, that was last week and last Friday's episode. We've had a lot of ups and downs, so why don't we go ahead and start week 17 of Mary Hartman Season 2.
It must be very, very boring for you. Like you're lying inside a big bologna skin all day long. Oh, well. Well, just look on the bright side. If they had never found your purse by the site of the accident, they would have never known who you are. And your friends would have never known where to send all these beautiful flowers and get well cards.
Hi, I'm Barbie. I'm your relief.
Oh, Barbie! Is my shift over already? Oh, for goodness sake. You know, time passes so quickly when you're being cheerful all day.
That's what I like about this work, cheering people up. You know, especially isolated people. And I have been working with isolated patients now for quite a while. And it's so much fun. They aren't an awfully lot different than this mummy here. That is really isolation. But how can you tell if you're being cheerful?
Oh, after a while, Barbie, you get certain vibes, you know. Now, I tell it. Every once in a while, I will tell it a joke, and I am just certain that it is shaking all over with laughter in there.
Doesn't that make you feel good all over?
Oh, yeah. That's the name of the game, Barbie. Well, I have to go now, so you two have fun. And don't do anything that I wouldn't do. Bye. See you later, honey.
She's real nice. Well, honey, what would you like to do? Play cards? Oops, sorry. I guess that would be kind of hard, wouldn't it? Well, I know. I could read to you. Won't that be cheerful? I read a lot. Magazines. Oh, Life magazines. You see, I have copies of every one that was ever printed. Oh, those new magazines, I hate them. They're so trashy. Now, I'm not just bragging when I tell you that I'm an authority on Life magazine. Just ask me any question. I'll bet I can answer it. Oh, sorry. Well, I'll just have to show you how much I know. November 8th, 1937, Garble was on the cover. And August 22nd, 1938, it was Fred and Ginger. But then my most favorite cover was April 22nd, 1937. It was just a big picture of a white leghorn rooster. My, but it was beautiful. What a wonderful world this is. Hi, honey.
I usually knock the door before I enter a woman's room, but I heard that Mrs. Haggard was all wrapped up.
Oh, you are a devil.
Actually, at my age, it doesn't make any difference whether they're covered or not. How is she?
Well, it's hard to tell. She hasn't responded to anything I've said.
Well, maybe she's like me. Sometimes I pretend not to hear, just to keep from being bothered. You're cute. What's your name?
Barbie.
Oh, that's a good name for you.
Why?
You're a real doll.
Now, I really don't want you to worry about Loretta like this, because she is really looking much, much better from what I could see, you know, in the slits and those bandages. It is hard to see through it, but I will tell you this. In her right eyelid, I got a peek. The color of the right eyelid is so much healthier looking than it was, I can't tell you. And I also saw her right hand move a little bit.
Move? You don't mean she's walking?
Twitching. Her right hand twitched just a little bit. You know what that means? Walking is shortly to follow.
I'll tell you the truth, Mary, I don't think I can take this loneliness and this worry much longer.
Oh, no, Charlie, no. No, you can't take this attitude. I mean, you really can't. I mean, she is gonna be fine. I mean, I'm sure of this. I mean, this is so obvious. All you have to do is look at her to see it. I mean, it's going to take much more than being in a coma, smothered in bandages from head to foot, dumped into a vat of plaster of Paris to keep Loretta Haggers down. We're talking about a special girl here.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Thank you for them words of hope and encouragement. I appreciate that.
Okay. Charlie, listen, in the peeling of the bananas, maybe if you did it the old-fashioned way, it might, move things a little faster. You know what I mean? Yeah, thanks.
Mary, listen. Is Tom home yet?
Tom?
Yeah.
It is getting late, isn't it? Have you seen her?
Yeah, that's earlier. I mean, when we got off work, he bought me a drink he bought me a drink at the Capri Lounge because he knew how miserable I was. I mean, which is very thoughtful of him when you seeing as how he's got problems of his own,
Yeah, I know. Like what?
Oh, like nothing for you to get flummoxed about, Mary. I mean, just like ordinary, everyday problems, like your average, right-living American man always has, like hating his job and feeling like they ain't giving him a chance to realize his full upward mobility potential, like that.
Did my name come up?
I mean, a guy like that, he has a right when he's uptight, like to just get in a car and go out to some diner on the pike and have a cup of coffee.
So like in what way did my name come up?
Oh, good, Mary. Good, Mary. All good.
Good.
So, don't you worry. Don't you worry.
No. Okay, Charlie.
And,
yeah.
And, let me know if you hear anything.
Let me ask you one thing, okay? When you said the good thing, just explain something to me. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, how good?
Good, Mary. All good.
Well, is it like a good 8 or a good 4?
8.
Why were you two out in the dark? Heather, come here a minute. Have you two been examining each other in the anatomy again?
No, you see, we were in the Gimbals.
Wait a minute. Weren't you over at the Gimbals for parental supervision?
Yeah, but we just had to get out of there.
You see, my folks were having a terrible fight.
Oh, no, again?
Yeah, but this one's real bad.
Really? Well, then I'm very glad the two of you came back. I'll tell you what. Why don't you two stay here, and I'm going to go over there. But remember one thing. I don't want any touching. Because touching can lead to terrible things, especially if it's something on the other person.
Like what?
Oh, Heather, please. I'm your mommy.
Mrs. Gimbal, please just tell us in your own words what happened here. Please, it's your civic duty. Cooperate with your local police.
Don't move. I'll handle this.
Freeze!
Oh, I am. It is so cold out there. What game are we playing?
Listen, lady, we're investigating a murder.
A murder? A murder? Who's dead? He's dead? Oh, he is definitely dead. Oh, so that's why you're here. Oh, Pat. Listen, Pat. In a situation like this, they're bound to ask you a lot of questions. And the best thing to do is not to say anything to anybody, because you, in a case like this, would be considered a real suspect. Unless, of course, he died from natural causes. But the main thing is, do not say a thing to a soul. Not a thing to a soul. Okay, Pat, so tell me what happened. See, that's a good suspect. You are. She is such a good suspect. Very good suspect. See, she doesn't have to say anything. I mean, that is in the Constitution, and it is on all the police shows.
Look, lady, there has been a murder committed here.
No, I'm awfully sorry. There has been no murder committed here. You see, in order to commit a murder, you have to have a murderer, and there are no murderers in this house. You know what I mean? I mean, there are no murderers in this neighborhood, you know. I know every murderer in this neighborhood, and they have all moved out of this neighborhood. I mean, it's true, I don't know a lot of the people in the jail, but I did have an experience with a close friend of the family who was arrested for exposing himself in front of a schoolyard filled with children, but that was not murder. That was just poor taste.
Oh, well, then I suppose that he stabbed himself in the back with the Christmas tree.
Well, I hope not, because that was some beautiful Christmas tree.
Oh, come on, lady, talk.
Okay, Pat, just come here for a minute. Okay, Pat, let's sit down here. Okay, let's sit down. Now, Pat, the important thing here is you really do not have to talk. I am here with you, and I'm here to tell you that you have a right to demand a lawyer, okay?
Come on. Confess. It'll make you feel better. We know you had a motive.
Demand a lawyer, Pat.
She doesn't want a lawyer. We already asked her. You know, it's too bad that she didn't listen to us the last time we were out here. We have been trained in how to handle domestic quarrels. We advised her, we warned her, we said, don't make waves, but she didn't listen to us.
Okay, now will you stop this now? Will you two just stop this? I've had enough of this. Now, you have made everybody feel as badly as they could possibly feel, and now I think you should just leave. Just leave. Go ahead and leave here now. Come on. Now leave. Now, Pat, what you will do is you will come home, and you will spend the night with us at home. Now, I don't want to, you know, hurt you personally or anything, Pat, but there is something about the house that's becoming a little depressing, do you know what I mean? So what I thought is if you could come home with us, you get to stay in Heather's room. We unfold a little folding cot. It could be so much fun, okay?
Wait a minute, where are you going?
Oh, I'm just gonna get her a toothbrush, and I'm gonna lend her, you know, one of my nightgowns.
The county will give her a nightgown tonight.
Oh, no, that's real sweet of the county, but it just isn't necessary. Okay.
It's standard procedure in the Fernwood prison. Mrs. Gimbal, you're under arrest for murder in the first degree. Put the cuffs on her, Jerry. Let's not give her any ideas about trying to make a break.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you just come on? That stuff up in the morning.
No, thanks, dear. I'll finish.
Real. I mean, I do not feel as...
Wait a minute, where are you? It's standard break.
Hey, I got an idea. Why don't you just come on to bed and finish that stuff up in the morning?
No, thanks, dear. I'll finish it now.
Wanda, do you know how long it's been since you and me have been together? I mean, do you have any idea how long?
I'll check my diary.
Wanda, I don't know what you think a marriage is. I mean, it's not just a political alliance between two people. I mean, a man has a right to expect more kinds of allegiances than that.
You can get that from a lot of women, Merle, and I'm sure you do. I get you votes.
Votes? You can buy votes.
You can buy sex?
Come on now. I'm talking about 20 minutes of your time. Come on. Half hour tops, huh? Huh? Shoot, I mean, it's not the physical act. It's important to me. You know that, don't you? That's meaningless. Hey, it's the thought behind it. It's what the thought behind it, what that represents.
Well, what does that represent, Merle, to you?
To me, it's always meant, I don't know, a spiritual kind of coming together of a man and a woman in the eyes of the Lord and in the privacy of their bedroom.
It's a lovely sentiment, Merle.
Yeah.
But no dice.
No dice?
I want to talk to you, Mr. Jeter.
Don't you believe in doorbells there?
I want the materials your stormtrooper police department confiscated from my room.
You mean that pornography?
Well, we'll let the court decide that. And it's not pornography. It's research material and statistics, and I want them back.
Well, you're not going to get it back, Ms. Olinsky. Not from me. I'm not going to help you two harpies here.
Merle.
Destroying the mental health of the men of Fernwood, and I'm not going to be a part of it.
All I wanted to do is improve their marriages.
All right. Meanwhile, what's happening, what you're in fact doing is destroying the moral fiber of an entire town here. Now, I don't know about you women. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you can do without it, but I know about men. Men cannot do without it. All the men in this town are a bunch of nervous wrecks. You got a bunch of guys running around with their tongues hanging out. The guys running the fire department, the police department, the guys picking up the garbage, delivering the mail, all them utilities. What you've done is brought this little town to a screeching halt.
Hold it. I didn't come back to Fernwood to start a war between the sexes. I came back to make life better for everyone. All I wanted was equal enjoyment in the bedroom, that's all. Now, Wanda, I know that you meant well, but you've taken the wrong approach to this whole thing. I mean, you've got everybody all stirred up and angry. Now, I've called a public meeting for tomorrow night, and everyone's invited. And I'm going to explain to everyone once and for all that what I'm proposing is not outrageous, just equal opportunity in the bedroom, that's all.
No, not at all, Ms. Olinsky. There ain't gonna be any promoting of a public orgy in this town. Not as long as I'm the mayor of Fernwood. There ain't gonna be any of that.
But it's not an orgy, it's a public meeting. Nothing subversive, it's perfectly American.
America? Did you say American? You know, that's real funny to me, Ms. Olinsky, because peddling pornography just doesn't happen to be my idea of what I call American.
Well, the Bill of Rights is my idea of what is American. The right for people to assemble and petition for redress of grievances. Now, you put that in your all-American pipe and smoke it.
Yeah. That's you.
What are you doing?
Just take 1 second here, darling. I'll be right with you. Yes, let me have the police department, please. Yeah, this is Mayor Jeter. Let me have Chief Wilson there, please. Yeah, Chief. Yeah, Merle, how you doing there? Oh, good, thank you. Right, thank you very much. Listen, I'll tell you what I'm calling about here, Chief. They're planning some kind of little meeting over there at the plant tomorrow night, and it happens to be a meeting that I did not issue a permit for, so I just wondered if you'd take a few of your boys over there and, No, your boys. Take a few of your boys over there and just arrest everybody in sight. Right, no, just book them on peddling in pornography. Right. Yeah, that's the idea, right. Well, much obliged. Thank you. Okay, good. Huh? And don't you try to stop me, darling.
Stop you? Stop all that free publicity? Stop Mays becoming a martyr? Stop the sexual solidarity of all the women in Fernwood? Stop the final proof of men's injustice to women? Stop you? Stop you from creating the biggest political flash in Fernwood's history? Oh, boy, I wouldn't dream of it.
Morning, folks. Yeah, give me some coffee.
Sure thing.
Yeah, give me a mess of eggs. Give me some fries.
Yeah. There you be. Nice and warm.
Yeah, good.
Coming right up.
Man, you look like you've been drugged clean through the mill.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole lot of guys that love to swap places with you, me included.
What do you mean?
Well, you spent the night with Lulu, didn't you?
Lulu? Who's Lulu? Ooh.
Oh, you mean she didn't even tell you her name?
What the hell are you talking about, huh? Hey, what time is it? I gotta call my wife. Well, she must be going up the wall.
Oh, Lulu ain't no dame for a married man to get hooked up with.
Who the hell is Lulu, huh?
That little filly you spent the night with.
I didn't spend the night with anybody.
Hey, partner, you don't have to worry about me. I ain't gonna tell your wife.
Hey, what the hell are you talking about?
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me that you was so drunk you don't remember?
I don't remember nothing.
Oh, you silly son of an axe handle. I mean, every guy that comes in here wants to jump in that girl's bed. You make it, and you can't remember. Ha ha! Sweet baby Jesus, there ain't no justice.
Hey, wait a minute. I mean, this Lulu, whoever she is, I mean, she's not gonna make trouble for me, is she?
Don't
I'm a
worry
married
about
man, you know?
Don't worry about it. Look, just go on home to your old lady and forget it. Because ain't no guy that makes no difference to Lulu. I mean, she's a tough cookie, man. She probably wouldn't recognize you if she fell over you or under you. Hi, Lulu.
Hey, who was that?
That was Lulu. Take care now, you hear?
Here's your toast.
How you doing, darling?
I didn't get enough sleep last night. Wish I was still in bed.
And we have a few quick beats in the first act, which start with Bobby and Barbie. That's Martha's new name as a gray lady, talking about the woman underneath the bandages, the woman in the mummy outfit, and how odd it is. And that really is just us catching up with the storyline in case you've missed anything. But then Grandpa Larkin pops in, and Barbie is a real doll. So apparently there's a storyline that is a brewing. I guess Grandpa Larkin's not seeing Mrs. DeLorean anymore. And then we pop over to Mary in the kitchen with Charlie, and Charlie is whittling a banana. And they are also catching up on things. Obviously, they start with Loretta, but then it goes to the subject of Tom. And Charlie last saw Tom getting drunk at the Capri Lounge and is worried, but covers for Tom. Though Mary is a little more concerned with how Tom feels about Mary at this point. I think Mary may be feeling just a little guilt about kissing Merle, but maybe not so much. And then the third beat is that Philip and Heather show up running from the Gimbal house, and they say that some big trouble has happened, and Mary heads over. And what she finds is Patty, completely silent, unable to speak. And I had mentioned last week on Friday that this could lead to some kind of trial, that Garth's death could lead to a trial. It's clear to us that it was an accident, but obviously it's not going to be viewed that way by the police. And I'll say that in domestic violence situations, when someone is murdered in a relationship, that usually the spouse, the surviving spouse, is the first suspect. Now, the police there behave pretty horribly. They pull a gun on Mary without even thinking about it. Instead of securing the area some other way, they pull a gun and start threatening. But I'm really sad for Patty at this point. Obviously, it's better that Garth is dead, but going through and reliving the moment and reliving all of the violence in her life, that's potentially part of the discussion we're going to see. So, as I mentioned, the arc of Garth is over, but Patty's story is not. And then over with the Jeters, and Merle is unbelievable here. He just wants to stop the Olinsky report, and Wanda's okay with that. May pops in and expresses her displeasure and wants the stuff that was taken from her walls in that raid. Merle then calls the police for another raid on this meeting that she has set up. Wanda sees that as a political opportunity to spike this conversation, which I guess we will see how that plays out, because I'm very curious. I wish this conversation were framed just a little bit differently. The way that it is, it feels like it's going to be a fight, rather than feeling like it was going to be fun. In theory, sex should be fun, and not what you get is what I should get. Because I think every partner in a sex relationship, each of the partners in a two-person sex relationship, should be having fun and getting pleasure. And maybe I'm being vague, but I'm being as open to each individual's version of pleasure. As long as no one is being harmed in the process, then do your best to help your partner feel good. That doesn't even mean orgasm necessarily. It means find out what your partner likes and do those things. And maybe find pleasure in finding pleasure for your partner. However, Wanda has turned this into a political moment, and it's really smart. And Merle is not so smart. He's just controlling and awful. We see another awful person at Lou's place, and we don't know his name, but he was the man who went on the tirade about Loretta being a slut. That was the moment that Loretta turned into Lulu, when hearing that tirade. And he sees Tom come out of the room, and he assumes that Tom was sleeping with Lulu. Tom doesn't know anything about it. He's just coming up from his bender. And Lulu comes out, and I can't believe that Tom didn't see her. That is very frustrating, because Tom just leaves. He didn't recognize Lulu's voice. I'm guessing he didn't see her face. She was back turned to him the whole time, I suppose. I'm really, really disappointed in that. That is, again, really frustrating. So everyone, that is our new week of Mary Hartman, starting right here. Thank you so much for leaving your thoughts and feelings in the comments. Thank you for watching with me. Thank you for getting sticky with me. And we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.